Jason, we currently have a crisis going on, and that crisis is social isolation, which is being linked to accelerated aging. Have you heard about this?
I've heard a little bit about this, but like, are we talking about like age as a number, like mental age, physical age?
Physical age.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about how people are looking physically. And the thing is that researchers have uncovered a significant correlation between social isolation and accelerated biological aging, indicating that individuals with limited social connections are at a higher risk of premature mortality.
Damn. So you would think that like, oh, you're not going outside, you're just keeping yourself less stress.
Mm-hmm.
But then this comes out and says like, oh, well, that's actually making you age faster.
Yes, no, it's true. At least from what these researchers are saying, you're essentially aging a lot faster because you don't have a social circle. And the thing is, utilizing AI-enabled electrocardiograms, AI ECG to estimate the biological age of over 280,000 adults. The study found that those with robust social networks exhibited smaller age gaps between their biological and chronological ages, reflecting slower biological aging.
That is pretty interesting because like, we've all heard of like the game a long time ago, Brain Age. It's like your mental age is like a certain age. But like this is like being able to go and test for your physical age, and they're finding out that like maybe it's that people who have higher friend circles are more active, or maybe they're I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually have a couple more things to say about this. But before that, if you like interesting videos like this, consider subscribing. We put out interesting videos daily. We have a library of over 300 videos. And the thing is, subscribing's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it does really help out the channel. So consider subscribing. Yeah, so a lot of things happening here in this story. Some of the other things that are brought up is that the social network index was instrumental in assessing social isolation levels, revealing that a lower score indicated of greater social isolation was associated with an increased risk of death across all demographics. This research underscores the importance of social connectivity as a vital component of health and longevity.
That's pretty crazy because like, like make sure you get your exercise, make sure to get some, like, how many more things do I need? Now I need friends.
Yes, now you need friends.
Now I need friends.
Yes, friends.
It's insane.
Can you imagine this? Friends are literally stopping you from aging faster.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the whole thing of like what is it? Like smiling and laughing like makes you live longer, like it makes you happier, like if you just smile and do that all this stuff. So I wonder if that like helps, like if just being around people and that type of thing.
I wonder if that's the case. I think I've heard it before on animals too, like animals make you happier, having animals around make you happier.
Yeah,
so maybe
I wonder if that like I wonder if people with like animals, if they're alone but they have animals, if like it's like somewhere like less than if you're just completely by yourself.
That's true. I wonder how much animals play a part of this. Some other facts here that they did mention is social connectivity and health. Individuals with better social networks, as determined by the social network index, showed smaller gaps between biological and chronological aging. We do know that risk of mortality and the disparity in aging found in all of this, and that is coming from the Mayo Clinic. So a reputable source that's happening there.
Interesting.
The research published in the Journal of American Colleges, and they suggested that social connections play an important role in the overall physical health and longevity, and it should be addressed as necessary part of social determination of health. And one of the things that we have talked about previously is the friendship recession.
Yes.
Yeah, and how there is that crisis that's going on as well. There's not a lot of people making friends, and it being harder to make friends. And
100%.
Over the past few years, it's been even harder to make friends.
I do think that there is like a shift in terms of like where you get your social interaction. So I wonder if it involves like if these people in the social study, if it was like physical meeting with people, like is it like, oh, you have to be physically present? Because I do know that a lot of like people are now mostly interacting online, like either through relationships they build like with friends online in terms of like playing games or something, or potentially parasocial relationships in terms of like people watching like Twitch streamers or anybody on YouTube or whatever, their platform of choice, and kind of like getting their social interaction through like social media in that sense.
It is interesting that you do bring that up because I don't think it's the same. Personally, I don't think it's the same. And I think that having a person there and having a person to talk to is a lot different than watching someone live or connecting with people like over games or something, because I feel like you don't really build like a meaningful real life connection.
Controversial
Yeah.
take.
I mean, like
Hot take.
It could be a hot take, but I think personally, hanging out with friends outside, going out and doing stuff, it doesn't have to necessarily cost money, because I know
Yeah.
that's also
That is a huge factor.
Yeah, that is a huge factor, but it doesn't necessarily have to cost money. You could go to the park, you could do anything, you could go walk, do a hike, you could do. There's
You
a
can
lot
play
of
video games.
You can play video games, cost money, but
That's
there's
true.
there's a lot of things that happen that you could do outside, and I don't think it has to be limited to just being online. And I think that online might also play a factor in some of this.
I do wonder because they don't exactly specify, I think, in the study that we're looking at, in terms of whether or not these people that are socially isolated are people that you could be isolated because you don't have friends, but then like you go to work and have colleagues. But I wonder if there's a distinction between the two, because you can have your work life and then you have your social life at home or home life, and those aren't exactly one and the same, because your coworkers might not have the same thing, and you might be working a lot, but in terms of like things outside of work and that stuff, you might be very socially limited.
It does remind me that over the past few years, like remote work was one of the biggest things that was happening. And someone had told me prior, it's like, make sure that you go outside to get your vitamin D, get the sun on you.
Supplements, baby.
Supplements. No, because the people who weren't getting that, I guess it was linked to unhappiness or less.
Yes, it actually is, because a lot of countries and states up north, they have a whole, like, you need to make sure to take your vitamin D, or they have specific lights to shine on you during those times when you don't get enough sunshine, like basically not synthesized light, but like simulated sunlight.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I think that, honestly, like these things are important for a good balance in your life. I think you should be able to have people you talk to that are outside of work. I think that you personally need the sun, by the way. And I think these are all really good things for you. I do know that one of the other things that we know about is that there was a trend, or people in that were Gen Z were talking about how fast that they're aging. And
that's true.
Particularly, like, the only other thing that they were saying is that it's like why do I look this way? Why do I look like I'm 40? Why do I look like I'm 35? They're like, I'm 20. I'm like in my early 20s.
There might be a connection.
There might be a connection there, especially because over the last few years, you didn't have anyone really right next to you. But yes, I would want to know from our audience what they think about this. Do you think the social interaction is good? Do you think online social interaction is different from in person? Because I think it's better to be in person.
One last thing is that I feel like one thing that might happen is that based on social media, you might feel lonely even if people are around, because you see other people having like these other crazy events and stuff happen around them, and you think that that's what you need to be doing to have social interaction, and that's not exactly what you're doing. Like I don't have 100 friends, and then like, obviously I'm alone, and then you think you're alone, but then you have friends and family and stuff, so it's like in reality you aren't, but like you perceive it as such.
The very last thing, it does remind me that, social media has been linked to a lot of different things like depression and like social anxiety. Yeah, and a lot of these things. So I wonder if that does take a toll on the people and
make them age faster.
And make them age faster. Yes. But yes, let us know your thoughts about this in the comments down below.
Can you give us your estimated physical age after social media?
God.